Hi everyone. Welcome back to our channel Elysium, where we dive into the fascinating world of linguistics. Today we'll be exploring some fundamental phonological theories from the sounds of language. So let's get started. In this video we shall understand the basic concepts of phonetics and phonology. Learn about the articulatory mechanisms of speech production. Study the acoustic properties of speech sounds. Explore how sounds function in particular languages. The vocal tract includes several important parts that work together to produce the sounds of language. The vocal tract is divided into three main areas: the nasal cavity, the oral cavity, and the pharyngeal cavity. Let's take a closer look at each part. Nasal cavity, located above the oral cavity. The nasal cavity is involved in producing nasal sounds like m, n, and ng. When the velum is lowered, air passes through the nasal cavity, creating these sounds. Oral cavity, this is the mouth area, also called buccal cavity, and it's the most active part of the vocal tract in speech production. It includes several important articulators, teeth, used in producing sounds like f and v. Lips, crucial for sounds like p, b, and m. Tongue, the most versatile articulator, involved in producing a wide range of sounds. Different parts of the tongue, tip, blade, body, and root, interact with other parts of the vocal tract to produce different sounds. Alveolar ridge, the bony ridge behind the upper front teeth, important for sounds like t and d. Hard palate, the bony part of the roof of the mouth, involved in producing sounds like and. Velum, soft palate, the soft part towards the back of the roof of the mouth, which can be raised or lowered to produce oral or nasal sounds. Pharyngeal cavity, this is the space behind the oral cavity and above the larynx. It's involved in sounds like h, and can affect the resonance of other sounds. In addition to these cavities, there are other important structures: larynx, voice box located in the throat. It contains the vocal cords, which vibrate to produce voiced sounds like z and v. Glottis, the space between the vocal cords, involved in producing sounds like the glottal stop when we speak. Air from the lungs passes through the vocal cords, which can be brought together to vibrate for voiced sounds or kept apart for voiceless sounds. The shape and configuration of the vocal tract then modify this sound to produce different speech sounds. Manners of articulation refer to how the airflow is manipulated as it moves through the vocal tract to produce different speech sounds. Here are the primary manners of articulation. 1. Stops. Plosives airflow is completely blocked in the oral cavity and then released suddenly. Examples include p, b, t, d, k, and g. 2. Fricatives. Airflow is forced through a narrow constriction, creating turbulence. Examples include f, v, s, z, and 3. Affricates. These are a combination of a stop followed by a fricative. The airflow is first blocked completely and then released through a narrow constriction. Examples include t, as in ch, and d, as in j. For nasals, airflow is directed through the nasal cavity due to the lowering of the velum. Examples include m, n, and ng. 5. Liquids. These are sounds where the airflow is only partially obstructed, allowing it to flow smoothly around the sides of the tongue. Examples include l and r. 6. Glides. Semivowels. These are sounds produced with a gliding motion of the articulators, from a slightly more constricted position to a more open one. Examples include j and w. 7. Flaps. These are produced by a single, quick tapping of the tongue against the alveolar ridge. An example is the r sound in the middle of the American English pronunciation of butter. 8. Trills. These involve the rapid vibration of one articulator against another. An example is the rolled r sound found in some languages like Spanish. These manners of articulation help linguists categorize and describe the vast array of sounds found in human languages. Understanding them is key to learning about the diversity of speech sounds across different languages. Suprasegmentals include intonation, stress, rhythm, and other prosodic features that contribute to the melody and rhythm of speech. Let's break down the main types of suprasegmentals. 1. Intonation. This refers to the pitch contour or melody of a phrase or sentence. Intonation can convey different meanings or emotions. For example, a rising intonation at the end of a sentence can indicate a question in English. 2. Stress. Stress involves the emphasis placed on certain syllables or words within a phrase. In English, stressed syllables are typically louder, longer, and higher in pitch than unstressed syllables. For example, in the word record, the stress is on the first syllable when it is a noun, record, and on the second syllable when it is a verb, record. 3. Rhythm. Rhythm is the pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables in speech. It contributes to the flow and timing of spoken language. Different languages have different rhythmic patterns, such as the syllable-timed rhythm of Spanish or the stress-timed rhythm of English. 4. Tone. In tonal languages like Mandarin Chinese, the pitch of a syllable can change the meaning of a word. For example, the word ma can mean mother, hemp, horse, or scold, depending on the tone used. Understanding suprasegmentals is crucial for grasping the nuances of spoken language. They play a significant role in communication, affecting how messages are interpreted and understood. Acoustic phonetics examines the physical properties of speech sounds. We'll cover sound waves, simple and complex sounds, hearing, and measuring speech. 1. Sound waves. Sound waves are vibrations that travel through the air and are perceived as sound. In speech, these waves are generated by the vocal cords and modified by the vocal tract. The frequency and amplitude of these waves determine the pitch and loudness of the sound. 2. Simple and complex sounds. Simple sounds, or pure tones, have a single frequency. In contrast, complex sounds, like most speech sounds, consist of multiple frequencies. The fundamental frequency, or F0, is the lowest frequency in a complex sound and corresponds to the pitch of the voice. Harmonics are higher frequencies that are integer multiples of the fundamental frequency. 3. Hearing. The process of hearing involves the detection and interpretation of sound waves by the ear and brain. The outer ear collects sound waves and funnels them to the eardrum, causing it to vibrate. These vibrations are transmitted through the middle ear to the cochlea in the inner ear, where they are converted into neural signals and sent to the brain for processing. 4. Measuring speech. Speech sounds can be analyzed using tools like spectrograms, which display the frequency, amplitude, and duration of sounds. Spectrograms allow linguists to visualize the acoustic properties of speech, helping to identify and distinguish between different sounds. Acoustic phonetics provides valuable insights into the physical characteristics of speech sounds, enhancing our understanding of how they are produced and perceived. Phonology is an essential aspect of linguistics that examines the patterns and systems of speech sounds in a language. It helps us understand how sounds are organized and used to convey meaning. Let's begin with phonemes and allophones. Phonemes are the smallest units of sound that can change the meaning of a word. For example, in English, the words bat and pat differ by only one sound, b and p, which are distinct phonemes. 1. Phonemes. These are abstract mental representations of sounds that can distinguish meaning. In English, b and p are different phonemes because they create different words. 2. Allophones. These are variations of a phoneme that do not change the meaning of a word. For example, the p sound in spin and pin is pronounced slightly differently, but both sounds are considered allophones of the same phoneme p. Understanding the distinction between phonemes and allophones helps us grasp how subtle changes in pronunciation can or cannot alter meaning. Next, let's explore phonotactics. Phonotactics refers to the rules governing the permissible combinations of sounds in a particular language. These rules dictate which sound sequences are acceptable and which are not. Alternation refers to the phenomenon where a sound changes based on its phonetic or morphological environment. Allomorphs are variations of a morpheme that occur due to these alternations. 1. Alternation. This occurs when a sound changes depending on its context. For example, the plural morpheme in English can be pronounced as s, z, or is, as in cats, s, dogs, z, and buses, is. 2. Allomorphs. These are different realizations of the same morpheme. In the example of the plural morpheme, s, z, and is, are allomorphs of the same underlying plural morpheme. Types of phonological alternations. Phonological alternations can be categorized based on the changes they involve. Here are some common types. 1. Assimilation. This is when a sound becomes more like a neighboring sound. For example, in English, the prefix in dash changes to I'm dash before labial sounds, as in impossible. 2. Dissimilation. This is when two similar sounds become less alike. For example, in some dialects, the word fifth is pronounced as fift to avoid the sequence of two fricatives. 3. Deletion. This is when a sound is omitted from a word. For example, the T in next is often not pronounced in casual speech. 4. Insertion. Epenthesis. This is when a sound is added to a word. For example, in English, a schwa is often inserted in the plural form of words like buses, bses. 5. Metathesis. This is when sounds in a word switch places. For example, the word ask is sometimes pronounced as aks. Understanding these types of phonological alternations enhances our comprehension of how sounds change and interact within words and across languages. Phonology is the study of how sounds function within a particular language. It examines the patterns and systems of speech sounds, helping us understand how they are organized and used to convey meaning. 1. Distinctive feature theory. This theory suggests that each speech sound, or phoneme, can be broken down into smaller components called distinctive features. These features are binary, meaning they are either present or absent. Understanding distinctive features allows linguists to analyze the phonemic inventory of a language systematically. Next, let's explore the phonological rules theory by Noam Chomsky and Maurice Halley. Chomsky and Halley's theory focuses on the rules that govern the phonological structure of a language. 2. Phonological rules theory. This theory posits that phonological processes are governed by rules that transform abstract phonological representations into actual speech sounds. These rules operate on underlying forms to produce surface forms. For example, in English, the plural morpheme can be pronounced as s, z, or is, depending on the phonological environment. The rules governing this alternation are part of the phonological rules theory. Phonological rules help explain how sounds change and interact within a language, providing a deeper understanding of its phonological system. Now, let's recap what we've learned today. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more linguistic insights. Thanks for watching.